So with everything that's been going on with the European Super League this week, it's been easy to forget that we've actually got a game this Friday evening at home to Everton in the Premier League. This is the Arsenal versus Everton match preview. Hello, my name is Richard. Welcome back to my channel over and over again, the Arsenal History channel. In this video, I'm going to look ahead to tomorrow night's game against Everton at the Emirates. It's good to take our mind off all the other stuff that's been going on and focus on an actual game of football, which is what it is supposed to be all about. I'm going to look at previous meetings between the clubs going back a number of years. I'm going to look at the current form. I'm going to predict the lineups and also give a score prediction. Before I get into all that, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Just click on the button in the corner there. It's free of charge. It just helps the channel to reach a larger audience. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like as well. And if you've got any comments to make at all about this game or anything else to do with Arsenal, the European Super League, whatever you like, drop them in the box below, as I do love to hear from you guys, and I'll try to reply to as many as I can. So Arsenal versus Everton, it's one of the most played fixtures in English football history. The first meeting was back in 1904, and in total there has been 216 games played between the sides in all competitions. In fact, Arsenal have won exactly half of those games with 108 victories. There's been 46 draws, and Everton have actually only won 62. In recent years, it's been even worse for Everton, actually. We've won our last 6 games at home against Everton, scoring 17 goals and conceding just 5. In fact, we've won 11 of the 15 matches between the sides at the Emirates, and Everton have managed to draw just 4. If the last 28 meetings in all competitions with Everton, that's home and away, we've won 17, drawn 7, and Everton have only actually managed to win 4, although one of those victories was, of course, the reverse fixture at Goodison Park in December, a 2-1 victory that was. Everton, in fact, have not won at all on any of their last 26 visits to Arsenal. That includes here at Highbury as well, and that was since January 1996. That was their last win here, a 2-1 victory that was. Ian Wright was captain for Arsenal that day. Arsenal have won 22 of those games, and there's been 4 draws. And in fact, that win in January 1996, the only victory Everton have had away at Arsenal in the last 36 visits, and that goes back to March 1987. Arsenal have won 29, and there's been 6 draws. Of course, some famous meetings over the years at Arsenal, of course, here at Highbury mainly. There was, of course, 2 famous victories against Everton where we actually won the league title. Of course, 1998 was the first one. Our first Premier League title was won here when we beat Everton 4-0. Of course, you remember that day, the famous goal from Tony Adams. And then 4 years later, in 2002, we'd already won the league actually by winning at Old Trafford a few days before. We finished the season with a home victory against Everton to get the trophy after the game. So those 2 games, they're really stick in our minds. Of course, you know, great days when Arsenal used to win league titles. It seems a long time ago now, doesn't it? And in fact, it has been. But I'm sure those days will return. Of course, last season's game at the Emirates finished in a 3-2 victory for Arsenal. An exciting game, if you remember. Everton took the lead, of course, in the first minute with Dominic Calvert-Lewin before Arsenal came back to win 3-2. Eddie Nketiah scored that day, and 2 goals from Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Of course, Aubameyang is likely to be missing from this game due to his recent illness. Of course, he also made his debut, didn't he, against Everton at the Emirates Stadium back in 2018. He scored in a 5-1 victory. Aaron Ramsey scored a hat-trick, of course, that day. So in terms of current form then, Everton arrive at the Emirates tomorrow night not in great form at all. They haven't won in their last 6 games. In fact, they've drawn all of their last 3. But they've only lost 1 of their last 11 away games, actually. They've won 7 and drawn 3 of those games. Their only defeat in that run came in London at Chelsea last month. In fact, in London derbies away this season, that defeat at Chelsea is the only London derby they haven't won away from home. They did win at Spurs, at Crystal Palace and at Fulham. Of course, their top scorer, as we know, is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's got 19 goals in all competitions, but only 5 of those have come in the last 25 matches. Of course, he has suffered a few injuries as well. Their second top scorer is Richarlison, who scored 12 goals in all competitions this season for Everton. Of course, from our point of view, we've actually only won 2 of our last 8 games at home. And in fact, last Sunday's draw with Fulham made it 4 home games in a row without a victory. That's since the North London derby back in March. In fact, that North London derby victory is our only one at home in our last 6 games at the Emirates. So our home form is poor against Everton, who've got good away form. So something has got to give in this game. So in terms of predicted lineup then, I think we're going to maybe play a similar side to we did against Fulham last week. We still got a few injuries and a few players missing. So I think we'll line up like this. I think Matt Ryan will start in goal again. He did okay against Fulham, didn't he? Not like he could have done about the penalty, and overall he looks solid. So I think he may well continue in goal. I think Cedric might come in at right back. Bellerin didn't have his best game last week, and rumours are he's about to leave the club anyway. I think the 2 centre-backs may well be Rob Holding and Pablo Mari. And then I think at left-back, I think Granit Xhaka will continue there. He's played well, and we don't really have a lot of options, do we, with Kieran Tierney still injured. I think in midfield, Thomas Partey and Ceballos will be the pivots there. I think Smith Rowe will continue in the number 10 position. He had an okay game against Fulham, didn't he? I think the 2 wide players will probably be Pepe and Martinelli. And I think Eddie Nketiah will start through the middle, of course, with Lacazette injured with his hamstring. So I think that's probably how Arsenal will line up. Of course, there are options, isn't there? Saka could, of course, come in again. I think he may well rest him ahead of the big semi-final, of course, next week. But we'll see what happens with that. But that's the lineup I think Arsenal will have. In terms of Everton, they don't tend to make a lot of changes, really, do they? I think in goal will probably be Pickford. He has been rotated a little bit with Olsen, so we'll see. But I imagine Pickford will probably get the nod. Their back four will probably be Godfrey, Keane, Holgate and Diagne. And that's a decent back four, isn't it? They've also got, of course, Coleman and Mina as well, who can come into the defence if needed. I think in midfield, I think Iwobi may well get a start. Of course, former Arsenal player, has been playing quite well for Everton, I believe. In midfield, of course, they've got Gomez, they've got possibly Davis, they've got Allan, of course, and Sigurdsson, who scored 2 goals against Tottenham in their last match. And up front, it's likely to be Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin, although, of course, Rodriguez also in with a chance. I'm not sure Calvert-Lewin's fitness. He hasn't played the last couple of games. They've also got, of course, Joshua King as well, who can come in up front. So they're the lineups I'm expecting for this game. So for the score then, it's going to be a difficult one to call, isn't it? As I said, Everton are good away from home. We've not been great at home, have we? So everything maybe points towards an away win, but then you've got to factor in Everton's poor record away at Arsenal. I think for me, it's got all the makings of a draw, if I'm totally honest. Everton have drawn their last 3 games. We've, of course, drawn our last 2 at home as well. I think you've got to factor in as well all the European Super League stuff. All the teams from the Premier League that were involved in that so far that have played haven't managed to win either, have they? So I don't know whether or not this has had some effects on the preparations to the game. I'm not really sure what's gone on. Of course, there's been a lot of silence from the club about that, but I'm going to assume it's going to make a difference. I'm going to go for a final score here at the Emirates: Arsenal 2, Everton 2. So we're back in action, aren't we? It seems a long time ago since that Fulham game, although it's only 5 days, I suppose, with everything that's gone on this week, sort of taken over really, and the matches haven't seemed so important. Now, of course, with the Super League being put on hold, certainly for the time being, suddenly the league games become more important again, and of course the big European semi-final. I think it's a good opportunity to build a little bit of momentum. Our performances have been very inconsistent, especially at home, and I think it's be important that we can put in a good performance to take into Spain for the game against Villarreal next week. But it's going to be a tough game. Everton are a difficult team to beat, especially away from home, and of course it is a clash of the 2 managers, if you remember, Ancelotti and Arteta, who both took over on the same week in December 2019, of course just ahead of a game where we played at Goodison Park. So it'd be good just to get back to playing football again, won't it? Let's hope all the protests before the game, trying to get the owners out, don't distract away from the match itself. Obviously that's an important thing, and I think the protests need to happen, but I think it's important as well that we can allow the players to concentrate on the game and try to get a victory. That's very important going into the European semi-final. down to the Emirates, unfortunately, due to work commitments, but I will be doing a watch along. I do want to try and do some coverage of the protests as well. So if you're there and you want to come on the show live, or maybe on your mobile phone, filming a bit of stuff that's going on, that would be fantastic. Please get in touch if you're able to do that. But I say I will be doing a watch along of the game. I'll go live with that about 7:45 for an 8 o'clock kickoff with the team news, a bit of build up, and then usual match commentary and analysis. I'm not going to do a fan cam after the game. It's a late finish. I might do something over the weekend, maybe looking back. I will do my own review of the game as well, which will come out on Saturday. So stay tuned to the channel. Loads coming up. And then, of course, we'll be building up to the big semi-final as well against Villarreal next week. So I'll be doing loads of stuff in preparation for that as well. And as I said before, I'm going to be focusing on the history of the club as well. Today, actually, on this day in 2018, of course, it was announced that Arsene Wenger was going to be leaving the club at the end of the season. So that's a little historical moment as well from this week in previous years. So I'm going to be doing a lot more of that sort of stuff as well over the next few weeks as we head towards the end of this season and beyond. And let's hope that we get some good news about the ownership of the club as well soon. But I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. But stay tuned to the channel. Please click the subscribe button down in the corner if you haven't done so already. It is free of charge. It helps the channel reach a larger audience. So I've got some great stuff coming up on the channel over the next few days and few weeks as well. So please subscribe so you don't miss out. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like as well. Drop any comments in the box below about this game or the European Super League, as I say, anything to do with Arsenal. It's always great to hear from you guys. And I say stay tuned to the channel. Thanks for your support. Thanks for watching. And of course, in the meantime, we are going to be playing some football this week. Come on, you Gunners! 3 points, please.